Hey guys, this is Justin. Hello and welcome to another video. I am very excited today because a new trailer for The Bad Batch Season 3 just dropped and there are some really massive implications. We will go through the trailer sort of moment by moment, but the big thing that everyone's talking about is of course the return of one Asajj Ventress. This is notable not only because it's a well-loved character returning to the screen, but also because it messes up her continuity at least a little bit, perhaps. So for those who haven't watched Clone Wars, either the original animated series, the short one, or the Clone Wars, Asajj Ventress is essentially a Sith assassin, a Dark Jedi, whatever. Anyway, she doesn't die during the Clone Wars, and in Star Wars canon, the last place we hear of her is the novel Dark Disciple. There, she partners with Quinlan Vos. They go for a journey through the dark and light side, but that story would end with her sacrificing herself to save Vos's life. Now, this was during the end stages of the Clone Wars, and now we have the Bad Batch where she is somehow still alive. How? Hard to say. The Night Sisters, well, they're a bit wacky. They've got magic. We've also got cloning in the mix here, which is interesting. Maybe something to do with that will come up, especially given the experiments that are taking place on Mount Tantus. We do, however, get a little bit from the announcement trailer if you go to StarWars.com and look at more details. It says the trailer ends with the shocking appearance of fan favorite Sith apprentice turned free agent Asajj Ventress. We love Asajj Ventress. She's a character that we've been wanting to tell more stories about. Brad Rao, supervising director of the series, tells StarWars.com, and he makes clear that her return will honor prior tales, including the book in which the character apparently perished. We don't want to spoil anything, but want fans to know that any new storytelling with Ventress will align with the events of Star Wars Dark Disciple. Now, like I mentioned, there are many ways that she could be brought back, some strange. Maybe she just fakes her own death so she can get away from the Clone Wars and the Republic once and for all. I'm not sure. It's also, I guess, theoretically possible that this is a flashback, but I don't think so. Honestly, though, I can't say I'm shocked. Now, Asajj Ventress in Legends and canon had lots of appearances in books and comics, but she was a major TV character as well, and they generally don't like characters to be killed anywhere outside of movies or TV shows. So, yeah, not shocked. The situation here is a little bit different because Dark Disciple was actually based on one of the unfinished Clone Wars arcs, but we've seen with Season 2 how the Bad Batch will also mess around with that. Either way, before the show premieres on the 21st, I am going to give Dark Disciple a reread, and we will talk about it on my podcast, Tapcaf Transmissions, so if you're interested in that, there's somewhere where you can get caught up and even read along with me if you choose. Anyway, going through the trailer, the one thing that I'm most impressed with, once again with this show, is the quality of the animation. Like, the first scene is stunning. That Juggernaut is a work of art, as are the LAATs. We've got to get another show in this era. Season 3 is the final season of The Bad Batch, but I would not be surprised at all if they transitioned into some new show. They still have plenty of years before Star Wars Rebels kicks in. One thing I noticed in the first 20 seconds or so is that during that scene when Hunter is inside the Juggernaut, if you look carefully, you can see in the background that he's either riding with Crosshair himself or someone in Crosshair's armor. Moving forward, though, we get a shot of what could be Coruscant, really any city planet. I'm just guessing Coruscant. What's interesting to me, though, is that we see what looks like to be one of the vessels that were parked on Lothal, the giant Imperial dome ship. I find these ships really interesting. For one, they're based on old Star Wars concept art, which is always cool. But two, I wonder if these could be like a way that the Empire places their foot down on particularly rebellious worlds like Lothal, or worlds which are otherwise valuable. I wonder whether the dome will be a central point of the show, or if it's just a bit of background detail. Either way, I like it. Anyway, we get Rex talking about their mission and how they have to rescue Omega from Mount Tantus, and we are reminded that, yeah, Crosshair is there. That's why I mentioned at the beginning that it could be somebody else in the Crosshair armor, because he's in there with her, and I don't see a situation where he gets out and she doesn't, unless he escapes on his own somehow, but he's looking quite defeated, quite un-Crosshair-like. Maybe that's part of the plan, though. I think my one hope for this season is that we do get lots of Mount Tantus content, and that it somehow plays into the future of what we get in, for example, the Thrawn movie, Ahsoka Season 2. I mean, Wayland as a planet planet and Mount Tantus go back to the Thrawn trilogy, as does the idea of the Empire having a cloning facility there. I personally don't think that's a coincidence, but I guess who knows. I do think the scene with Palpatine hints at the fact that, yeah, this is more than just a subplot for this show. He talks about how there's nothing of greater importance to secure the future of the Empire than the Mount Tantus project. That could be hinting at how he's going to use the research there to help with his rebirth. Anyway, the action looks great. We've got the return of several characters. We've got the clones, Fennec Shand, Cad Bane, which also kind of makes me wonder whether we could see Boba Fett brought in here somehow. I mean, they do have that duel in the post-Clone Wars or late Clone Wars era that they need to still have. That was from the original unfinished Clone Wars episodes. I wouldn't be surprised, given Boba's connection to cloning, to see him make it into this show, but I guess we'll see. Otherwise, circling back to Asajj, I think she's going to be more of an ally than an enemy. She clearly, as she says, does not want to kill them. You can tell by the way that she's reflecting the bolts. If she is actually engaging with the Bad Batch, it could be misdirection, that she's not going for a kill shot, and I think that would kind of match her development in Star Wars canon as well. But she's always kind of been a character, even in Legends with how her story ended, who wanted to get away from the war, from kind of the Jedi Order from when she came as well, so I hope they do a good job with her character. I'm not someone who's ever been super into Asajj as a character. Not to say I don't like her, it's not that at all, it's just she's never been one of my favorites in an era that already had a lot of really good villains, although I obviously love her fight with Anakin on the Yavin Temple. But anyway, aside from the trailer, we also did get a release schedule for the final Bad Batch season. We will be getting 3 episodes, which are Confined, Path Unknown, and Shadow of Tantus. The last one kind of suggests that maybe Crosshair does escape and rejoins the crew to help them rescue Omega. Who knows? Especially because the 5th episode, March 6th, that's my birthday by the way, is called The Return. Then subsequent week we get 2 episodes then, Infiltration and Extraction, so it makes sense to me, especially because there is an episode called Juggernaut, that's episode 12, which is significantly after all of those. Then the season ends on May the 1st, episode 15, The Cavalry Has Arrived. Either way, very interesting. I'm super excited for the season. I've really enjoyed the Bad Batch. Yeah, there are some episodes which are more boring than others, but that's the beauty of having longer seasons like the Clone Wars had, like Star Wars Rebels had. You really get the time to know the characters, and I think that's endearing. Not every episode has to be an earth-shaking battle, but that's all my thoughts. Let me know yours down below, and may the Force be with you.